Welcome back to the Fearless Females Voice podcast. On this episode, I'm joined by my travel buddy, Mirte Hopkes. Mirte and I met when we were both doing a stint of solo travel in Ecuador, and I remember when I first met her, I thought, wow, she is so brave and up for anything. We quickly formed a close friendship and ended up traveling together for a short while. On this episode, we talk about solo female traveling, which is a subject close to my heart. Mirte shares her experiences of her lengthy trips away from home, as well as gives advice to those who are looking to do the same thing. We talk about how we first met, what it's like being alone in a new country, all the huge benefits of solo travel, and how to plan your trip. This is a really fun and exciting episode, so without further ado, let's get stuck in. What does being a fearless female mean to you?
So I think it would mean that you're not like afraid to stand up for yourself and to just speak out whatever you want to say. Because I feel like sometimes women are just like, no, I need to be polite and I need to be friendly all the time. Well, but it could also be because I'm Dutch and like in general, we're here very direct and everything. And even for like a Dutchie, I'm like more direct than most other people. So I'm very direct. I always say what I think. And when you ask for my opinion, I will give you my very raw opinion.
I remember this.
Yeah, I'm for sure. Like, I'm just like, don't let anyone hold you back and like what you want to do, what you want to say. And I think that's for me what being a fearless female means.
I like that. So we'll touch a bit more about how we met a bit later on. But for now, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm just still young.
Yes.
So just in the beginning of my life, enjoying. And right now I'm studying now in my second year. And it's actually like really laid back. I actually selected my study on like not having to be there for too many hours. So I still have like a lot of free time. I do gymnastics,
Nice.
which I really enjoy. It's like a student association. So we do also like activities together and like loads of people. So it's not just people from my own age, because I started later with studying. So the most people of my year are younger than me, like 2 or 3 years younger. And then I'm just like, because usually I get along with like people that are a little bit older, or just my age. So for my studies, I didn't have like a lot of friends that I could hang out with. But with gymnastics, for example, there are like all the ages are there. So it goes from, I think, 17 till like 30 something. So that's a lot more fun for me.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you study right now?
European languages and cultures.
Nice. Okay. So you said you're 2 years behind, or two people are 2 years younger than you. So why is that?
That's because I took 2 gap years. Nice. I was supposed to do only one, but then I made it 2 myself. So that's what happened.
So tell us about your first gap year. So for those who don't know, what is a gap year? So what is that for you?
So here actually in Holland, it's very common to take a gap year. So after like high school, you just decided you're not going to go straight into your studies and you can go take a gap year. So it's actually a year of doing nothing or just like whatever you want to do. So some people just work for a whole year, others go traveling, some combine the two, but it's just mainly like a little break of a year in between high school and your studies.
Interesting. I didn't realize it's more common there, because here in the UK, the path is kind of created for you to do your studies and then you move into university. And there's not, I think there's not as many people doing gap years. So It's interesting that you said it's a bit more common there. So what made you go traveling?
Well, I've always loved traveling. Like my parents were also like, they've traveled like all around the world together and when they were apart. And then so when we were younger, my sister and I, we were always like going everywhere during the summer holidays. So usually what we did, they would take us to like France for 1 year, and that was just like closer to home. And then the second year we would go to like, United States or to like Greece, or we went to Norway, South Africa, I've been to with my parents, and Costa Rica as well.
Oh, wow.
And then like we did like 1 year farther away and then a year close to home, and then that's about it. And that's how I like started traveling actually, because my parents were taking us everywhere. And then I already got in touch with so many different countries and cultures. So I was already like, this is awesome. I want to do this.
Yeah,
I think that's how it all started.
It's quite a brave step, because you've done traveling with your family, so you're always with someone. But then to do it on your gap year, you were doing it on your own, or you were looking to go by yourself, right?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. So that's actually how that went, because before, like, I think when I was like 15 or something, I was already like afraid to take the train to like a city that's like 1 hour from here.
Oh.
And then we're in Holland, but I was just I was way more shy and like scared of like having to go out there by yourself and like having to talk to strangers and stuff. So that's all very scary. And I was just like, if I want to go on a bus, can you please come with me? You know, I was just like more like that. And then like it already was like better. Like when I was, I think I started traveling when I was 18. So for the first time by myself, was I 18? I can't remember exactly. I was 17 or 18. But then when I had like my final exam from high school, that was in May. And then in September, I went to Spain. So I didn't go that far at first. So I went for 2 months, like 8 weeks, something like that, to Spain and did like a language course there. And then I was just the whole time in the same city. So that made it easier to like connect with people. And then when you're on a language course as well, there are like more Dutch people, more people from everywhere actually. So it made it easy because you get used to your surroundings, to the city, to the people. And then it's more comfortable, I think. While when you're really traveling, you go everywhere and you need to constantly like adjust to your new surroundings and meeting new people and like putting yourself out there because you have no one else.
Exactly. And so when you did your 2 months in Spain, did you then go, is that after school? So you
Yeah.
finished your school and then you went, and then from there is when you did your larger trip?
Yeah, so I went 2 months to Spain and then I was home for like a couple of months. And I think in March, I left for the first time. And then I went to Peru and Ecuador for 3 months. And I decided in like before that I was just gonna go to Peru and Ecuador, but that was about it that I planned. And I was just like, I'll see where I'll go. And actually, I have family in Lima, so that made it easier for me to start because I just went there and they picked me up from the airport. But it's like not close family. I've never talked to them or anything, but I just had someone that picked me up, so that was actually quite nice. And I stayed with them for a couple of days, and then from there I just went on my own.
Wow. What did your family say about that? That their young girl is going to go out into the world and travel.
Yeah, well, my parents did it themselves. Like also my mom, she went traveling a lot, but mostly like to France. She did a gap year in France. She was an au pair there. So she already knew a bit like how it was when someone is traveling alone. Of course, now it's different because we have like so many ways of communicating to your home front. So I could call my parents every day if I wanted to. I didn't, but I forgot it all the time. I was just like, oh shit, I should still tell them where I am right now and stuff. But I actually had like a little online journal thingy where I would just post pictures and what I did every day so they could follow me there. And yeah, they were actually just like, yeah, first of all, absolutely take a gap year. They were actually quite like, you should definitely do it. So I didn't have to convince them that I wanted to do it, which was really nice, which made it easier because if my parents would say like, maybe you shouldn't, then I would be more like, but I really want to. But now it's just like, yeah, please do go. So it was very much fun. I didn't have to like ask for them all the time.
You know, you're really lucky that you have parents who have been there and done that with the travels, because I
Yeah, for
see
sure.
a lot of girls who have blockers as their parents because their parents are saying to them, oof, you want to go traveling? Like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to, you know, they almost fear for their child going out into the unknown. And
Yeah, definitely.
I was also lucky. So I first went traveling when I was 20. And I was only going for 3 months. And I remember telling my parents, I was like, oh, I kind of want to go traveling and I want to go by myself. And
Yeah.
I want to go
Where did you
Southeast
go then?
Asia. I went to Southeast Asia. So I did
Oh,
Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. And I remember them thinking they were really supportive. So in
yeah.
my family, no one's really done this kind of thing before. So it was quite nice that my parents were on board. But I remember the first time saying goodbye to them, and my mum had, my auntie and uncle were there as well. It was like a little ceremony. They were just like, my mum was crying, my
Oh
auntie
my
was crying.
God.
I was like, guys, I'm going to be fine. And I remember I got into the taxi with my backpack and I was like still looking and they're just crying. And I got in the taxi and then I thought to myself, oh, they're really upset. And then it kind of brought a tear to my eye to be like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
going away from home for 3 months for the first
yeah,
time by myself. And I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. The first ever trip I'm doing. So I
yeah,
didn't know what to expect. And I was thinking, oh my God, am I going to be alone? Like, will I make friends? Is anything going to happen? Like,
yeah.
I just didn't know what to expect. But I was ready for it. I was ready for what was to come. So I
But I
prepared my,
also think that's what everybody's scared of to go when they're just like, am I gonna meet people? Am I gonna like
yes,
make friends? Am I gonna like figure it out all by myself? But like the nice thing, especially when you go to Asia, like so many people go there during their gap years, during like anything. So that's actually the reason why I didn't want to go there, because everyone was going to like Asia and stuff.
yes,
So I
yes.
actually decided like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go the other way around. So
Yeah.
I went to South America after, and then because I was more focused on like nature, and I really want to see like animals and like mountains and like uh, beautiful views. And of course, you also have that in Asia, but I felt like that was more like, I don't know, more
I,
like parties or something.
Yeah, I agree. Like with Asia, I definitely say it's a place for newbies, new travelers to go
Yeah.
to first, because it's somewhere where they speak English, where
Hmm.
it's safe. You know, it's not like South America where you're walking down the street and there's potentially a guy with a gun just like rocking up. Like it's very different, and
Yeah.
it is more of a party scene, but it's easier to travel, I'd say, in
Yeah.
Southeast Asia. Or that's what I found. So when people are like, "Oh, where should we go first for our first ever trip?" and I'm thinking, Asia's a good bet. It's
Yeah.
safe, you can't go wrong with it. So yeah, but having been South America, it's very different. So I do
Yeah,
get that
for
very
sure.
naturey in South America. I find there's an older crowd in South America as well. But I don't know if you found that. You've done a bit more traveling than me around there.
Yeah, but like I can't compare it because I didn't go to Asia yet. I will
Okay.
for sure go there someday, but
It's
but now I'm
next.
actually also like, because I want to go together now, and I need to find someone that's like that has the same travel style as I do, because um for example, in South America, I like to spend like as least as I can on the accommodation. So if you could just give me a bed and a pillow, I'm good, I don't need that much. And then I spend a lot of money on like activities and walks and things like that. So I
Yeah,
don't need to have all the comfort while I'm sleeping. I need to have the beautiful views and the amazing experiences.
I
So that's,
completely
yeah,
agree. I've done things where I've gone into a hostel. I'm like, okay, how much is this? They're like £2 a night. You know, saying it in whichever currency that the
yeah,
place is at. And I'm like, sold. I'll take it. You know, I'm just like,
yeah.
oh my God, it's £2. Then you go in and it's like, is that a hole in the floor? Is that a rat? Like what?
Yeah,
But it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna sleep here. It's fine,
yeah.
and I'll just go out for a walk in the daytime and do my thing. So yeah, I think it's all about this. So when people say to you, how, are you going to make friends? How do you know what to do? How do you know if you're going to make friends or be alone? What do you say?
Um, you're not gonna be alone. Like you've almost no you don't get the opportunity to be alone, especially when you go alone. You sleep in like dorms, so there will be a lot of people. Of course, if you're just like by yourself all the time, you're just gonna sit on your bed and like do nothing at night or during the day, or go in group activities. Of course, then you're not gonna meet anyone. But how I made friends, I think, is just going on city tours, and then you meet people of the same age, or that seem nice, and you're just like, hi, I'm alone, I want to make friends. You can even like say it like that, because when I went to Lima, that was my first thing when I went alone to the big city trip, and then there were actually two Danish people, and I saw them there on the bus, and I was just like, oh, did you guys also book it by blah blah, I don't know, just small talk. And then we said goodbye, and then I saw them again in Paracas, which was like a city a little bit more south. And then I saw them again, and then I was like, oh, nice, there you guys are. And then they were like, yeah, come sit with us. And then for the next 3 weeks, I was just with them. I did everything with them and traveled with them. So I was just third wheeling all the time, but it was great.
I've
But
been
they
there
were
and done
really
that as
nice. And they
well.
were just taking me everywhere. And then also, like in the beginning, when we weren't like friends yet, I just told them like, can you be in my picture, because I don't want to be alone in every picture. And then eventually we got great friends, and then we went out together, and we got to know each other so well, and it was really good. Like there's almost no you're not gonna be alone. It's not even possible to like be alone, except if someone talks to you and you're just gonna be like, hey, don't touch me. Of course, you're not gonna make any friends. But
yeah, I mean, I think the caveat is if you want to be by yourself, then that's absolutely fine as well. But if you are thinking or worried that you won't make any friends, that's definitely not the case. I found the exact same thing. Every time I go to a hostel, I tend to be the one to be like, hey, how are you? Tell me everything about you. And you get that small talk going, and you realize that everyone is there for the same reason. They want to explore, they want to make friends. Everyone's so friendly. They've all got the same mindset. So it's very easy to connect with other travelers. It's almost like you meet someone and then an hour into meeting them, you're like, oh my God, this is my new best friend.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I'm like, oh, I feel so connected to you. And it's been 10 minutes of talking.
Yeah, but everybody's so social when you meet them anywhere. And then I was more than like sitting alone at a table in like the common room of the hostel. And then I was just sitting there, and then usually someone would come up to me. But I think the most difficult part is when people, for example, when you go traveling at first with someone else, they are together, and then it's very easy to just stay together and not meet anyone else. So if you take that as an example, when you go alone, you're just going to be like, but last time I didn't meet anyone, and it wasn't that much like meeting many other culture people or whatever. But that was because they were together. Because I found when I was like in my last travels, I met a guy and I was just traveling with him for like 3 months, I think. And then because we were like a private room is just as expensive as sleeping in a dorm. So we took more private rooms, and we were together, and we didn't have to go to the like public areas because we had each other already. So if you go alone, you're going to go to those public areas and meet everyone. So it's very, very easy to make friends.
Yeah, I agree. And these friends are going to be from all over the world. And that's the one thing I love about traveling is you meet people from everywhere and anywhere, and they're almost like an open book, because I feel when you're meeting someone for the first time, you're really receptive to them, you talk to them more, and you're just open. And so I really like the kind of conversations that come to the table. You learn so much, or I've learned so much about people from all over the world, and how they live, and how the education system is there, and why they're traveling, and their stories. It's one of my favorite things about traveling as well, is just meeting the people.
Yeah, and it's also like amazing because for example, those people from Denmark, I speak to them like sometimes, just like spoke to them like 3 times after we said goodbye in Peru. But I'm sure if I would go to Copenhagen and I would text them, they for sure have like a sleep place for me. I can come to their house, we can go to dinner, we can go partying for sure. I'm sure if I will go to your place, you're gonna be like, welcome, and yeah, for sure. So that's what I really like about, like, even you don't have to talk to them for years, and if you're gonna be in their place and you remember, oh wait, didn't she live here? Text them, and you're just gonna be like, yeah, oh my God, it's so much fun.
It's reliving those memories. I've had that where I've had people who I met 3, 4, 5 years ago, and I haven't really spoken to since then. And when they come to London, and they've texted me saying, oh, we're in London, are you free? And I'm like, yes, let's meet up, let's go out, let's get dinner. Yeah. I really like that. Like when I came to Holland as well, when I was in Amsterdam, and I text you and I was like, I'm coming to Amsterdam, just, curious, are you free? Do you want to meet up? And you're like, yes, let's do it. Of course. You're like, of course, let's do it. I was like, oh, great.
But like Amsterdam is also for me like a little trip, because like I'm not from Amsterdam at all. Yeah. Of course, if you look at like South American distances, it's nothing. But for here, it's like 3 hours by train or something. Yeah. So, but I was just like, oh my God, you're so close now. I cannot say no.
Yeah. So
it's like the same even with Jonathan. You remember him? Like,
yes, he came to London.
Yeah, well, he also came here to Groningen. And this is not like a big city, it's a student city, like everybody here almost knows each other, and there's connections everywhere. And we weren't even that good of friends when we were in Ecuador, because he was friends with you guys, and then we were just all together. And then he just came here like, okay, fuck it, I'm like around. So, and then he came over and we just did a crazy night with partying and everything. So it was so much fun.
So Mirte mentioned Jonathan. So this leads nicely to how we met and who Jonathan is. So you can do the honors if you want. So I'll give a bit of background. So I went traveling to Ecuador by myself in May 2018. So I know the exact time and dates because I wasn't on a gap year. It was a specific holiday / backpacking trip for me. Whereas Mirte was on holiday. So I just said to her earlier, I was like, oh yeah, we met in May. She's like, oh, was it May? Was it June? Like she can't remember. It's a big blur for her. But for me, it was May 2018. And so I was in Ecuador by myself. I made friends with a girl called MG from New York. And she had already previously done a language course with you, I believe. So when we landed we got to one city called Baños. And she was like, oh, I've got a friend here as well. And I was like, oh, cool, let's meet. And from there, that's how we then connected. And we ended up traveling together for a little while, which was a lot of fun. And we all kind of just got on really well. So do you want to tell us a bit more about Ecuador?
Yeah, sure. Like it was actually, I was talking about this, like, I think, 2 days ago or something with a friend, because I told him about like my travels, and I have like photo albums, so I showed him everything because I just printed out some photos of my gap years and everything. And I just told him like it was so much fun when I was in Baños, because that was actually my first, I went to Ecuador. It was just the start of my Ecuador experience. So I was in Quito, and then I went to Baños. So it was my first being alone again, because I didn't meet anyone there yet, because I just arrived that afternoon. And then I remember that MG said, I'm going to go to Ecuador as well around that time. So I just texted her that afternoon, like, where are you going to go in the incoming days? Like, are we going to be able to meet up? And then she was like, yeah, I'm actually right now on my way to Baños. And I was like, no way, that's where I am right now. So, and then that evening I went out with you guys, and we were eating, and then we all just met. And then you guys, like the next day, came to Neo. We all went to another hostel, I think.
So we had a room booked already, and when me and MG got there, we weren't a big fan of the hostel. So we went into our room, and it just didn't have the best vibe that we were looking for.
Yeah.
So I remember when we met you, and then you obviously weren't staying with us. So we were like, you know what? Let's all stay together, because that's what we do, right? We're like, oh, we're all friends now. We're best friends. And then, we've known each other for an hour, and we're best friends, and let's all live together.
Yeah.
So we ended up kind of in that evening. I remember we had dinner, and then we were walking the streets trying to look for a hostel to stay in.
Yeah.
And, we ended up finding one. So the next day we had a plan, like, right, we're going to leave, and then you were going to leave, and then we were going to meet. And that's where the trip started.
But I remember that room. I talk about it so many times, because when you go into dorms, like usually you get along with like 2 or 1 person from that room. And now it's like #room 17. It's always on my mind. Like, we were just getting in there. There was all these guys that were like lying there dead on the bed, and we were like, what's this? And they were like, we're so hungover. And then, are you guys gonna go to like welcome dinner tonight? And then, you could sign up for us, blah blah blah. And then we like, the whole room became friends. Like, everybody could get along with everyone. So we had 8 people, and everybody was just like, oh, let's go to party, let's go to this. And then we actually would look for a strip club or anything. Like, we did crazy things together. It was so much fun.
It was such a good trip. So we so we met when us 3 walked in. You're right, there was these guys. I think there were 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember exactly now how many.
At first there were like, I think 4, and then Leonard, he came in later.
Oh yeah, Leonard. Yes, there was a 5th one as well, and we all became friends. So this is quite a rare situation. In all my travels, I've never had that as well, where I'm in a dorm of even 6 people, and me and all 5 of them kind of hang out together and have breakfast together and have dinner together, plan our nights out together, and we all just clicked. And some of them were due to leave the day after. And then when the morning arrived the day after, they were just like, we're just gonna extend our stay. Can someone go and tell reception that we're gonna extend us? And all of us just waking up like, okay, who's gonna go down and tell the reception that these guys are gonna extend their stay? So someone went down, and then we were due to leave. I think the girls were due to leave, and then we thought, oh, you know what? We're just gonna extend our stay. So I remember the morning after that, someone was nominated to go down and tell reception that the whole of room 17
wants to extend their stay.
And they were just like, what? All of you guys? We're like,
yeah. All of room 17 wants to stay. And then we came up like #room 17. Everybody was so much fun. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really good times. So whilst you were traveling, what's been your biggest challenge when you've been traveling by yourself?
Like, to not sit back, I think, because it's very easy to just be like, oh, okay, I need a minute of rest, and I'm just a little bit like, right now I don't feel like being social. And a big step for me was all the time to go out, because for example, when I was in Paracas and I was in the hostel alone, and then those 2 people from Denmark, I didn't know they were there. So I forced myself actually to go walking through the city. It was like very small. It was just like one boulevard and just a couple of streets. And then I saw them there. So if I didn't go out that evening to talk to them or just do anything, I wouldn't have met them again. And then we probably would have been a complete different experience if I didn't see them that night there. So I think for me, it was like mostly forcing myself to go to the social areas. So you have to make friends all the time. I think that's like the hardest thing, because once you're there, it's just going to go automatically. Like once it's happening, once you're there, because before you're just thinking like, oh no, I need to make new friends again. But when you're there, it's just like so easy, and everybody meets everyone. And then they're like, oh, I have friends that are also going to the city where you're going. I can hook you guys up and blah, blah. It's like,
yes. Do you ever find it tiring where that you're meeting so many new people, and when you meet these people, it's almost the same conversations around, hey, I'm from here, this is what I do back at home, this is where I'm going next, this is where I've been, here's my recommendations, here's my tips. Like, do you find that quite tedious sometimes?
Yes. So eventually, actually, because the second time when I went to South America, I went there for 6 months. This was from November 2018, I think, and then till May 2019. Yeah, I think around that. So it was 6 months. And then after a while, I got so tired of just talking to everyone, like, where are you from? What do you study? What do you do with your life? Blah, blah, blah. And then eventually I was just like, okay, tell me like 5 minutes about yourself. What do you do? Blah, blah. I do the same. And then we can skip the small talk and go like do some things together or talk about better stuff. Like I was actually quite surprised. Like you said before, you have to talk to like someone for like 10 minutes and then you become best friends, and then the conversations go so deep, and you can just talk to someone that you've known for like 2 hours and already talk about your expectations from life and why you're feeling down sometimes. And like, it's like you're such an open book while you're traveling.
Why do you think that is? I have my own opinions on this, but why do you think that is, that you can openly speak about everything to these people you just meet?
I think it's also because they don't have any background on you. Like if I would talk to someone here that I already know for years, and I would talk to them in a different way than I usually talk to them, because like here I'm way more closed off and I don't openly talk about like all the emotions that I go through or anything. And I think when you're traveling, it's very easy because no one knows anything about you. And like if something gets awkward or it gets like, yeah, I should not have told you that. Next day you just don't meet up with them again, and then it's over. And then, but like for example, if the conversations are really good, then you can talk about it forever, and then that's how you become really close friends in like no time.
Yeah, I agree. And how would you describe yourself in terms of personality type? Like, would you say you're quite outgoing anyway?
Really depends. Like sometimes I just really am like, someone invites me to go to a bar or something, and I'm immediately like, yes, let's go. But sometimes I'm a little bit more, I still am a bit frightened sometimes when people are inviting me to a party where I don't know anyone. Then I'm still like, maybe I shouldn't. But I know when I'm there, it's not going to be a problem. Like everybody wants to talk to you. You become friends and no problem. But sometimes still just like, But like I am a social butterfly for sure, because when I'm in a room with people, then I know everyone in no time. But it's just sometimes I still need to put myself out there to just do it. Yeah. For example, with traveling as well, like you just have to do it and then everything will be fine. Yeah. But yeah, and it's also, I'm very, very direct. Like I say anything. Yeah. So sometimes that just, some people cannot really handle it and they think I'm just like, how would you say that? Like, as if I'm just insulting them all the time. But it's just like my kind of humor or something, to just say something as a joke. And then some people are just like, what? And then I'm just kidding.
This is why I think I really got on with you, because I really liked your sense of humor. And when we met, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, this girl's really direct. She knows what she wants. She's super outgoing. And I thought you were really brave. So I remember one time in Ecuador, we did a tour. It was me, you, and MG. We did this tour, and there was we came across this swing straight away. So what it was is it's pretty much, for those in the UK, I don't know if you know what Alton Towers, or it's like a theme park ride pretty much, right? But in theme park rides here, obviously they're very regulated. They've done plenty of safety checks to make sure that you're going to be okay. Whereas you rock up to this ride, which is in the middle of nature, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, that does not look safe. Like
Was it
I
that big swing that we
yeah,
just did
the big
together?
swing. So
Yeah.
I looked at it thinking, oh my God, like what it was is there's a massive, massive swing and you're almost being catapulted up. So it's high in the mountains. You're being catapulted up on this swing up across the city almost. So you're overlooking, you're literally hanging off this cliff edge onto the city, and then it swings you back. But it just looked like it was just made in such a kind of cheap way, like an unsafe way. And I remember the first thing MG said was, I'm definitely not getting on that. And I looked at her and I'm like, she's from America, right? So I'm from the UK. I'm like, that doesn't look safe. I'm not getting on that. And the first thing you said is, I want to go on that. I was like, what? Are you sure? And you were like, yeah, I'm going to go on that and you're going to come with me. And you looked at me and I was like, I just met this girl yesterday. Like, does she want me to die? Like, what's going on? And I was like, I can't. And she was like, come on, you're coming with me. I don't know if you remember this. And I remember thinking, you know what? I think it was $10 for a ride. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I remember going on there and it was such a good experience. But from there, I got the vibe that you didn't want to miss anything. You literally had FOMO. You wanted to do every activity. You wanted to get involved in everything. And I really like that mentality. And that's what I tried to adopt as well. So when I'm going traveling now, it's just very much like, I want to do everything. Like I have an agenda. I know what's happening where, what's going on. I want to do it. No matter how tired you are, if you've slept 3-4 hours, it doesn't matter. You get up and you go rafting, you go climbing, you go sightseeing, you go do whatever it is you need to do to get the full travel experience. So that's the kind of
that I had some influence on that. I love it.
Yeah, of course. Like traveling with you, it's been like you just weren't afraid of anything. That's the kind of vibe
I really like adrenaline as well. So when I have things like that swing, for me it was even just a little bit like, okay, but I wouldn't do it again because for me it wasn't like that scary though. I remember actually now you're talking about like when I was looking at the photos a couple of days ago and I saw the video actually of that swing and I heard you screaming and I was just like,
yeah, I was there on the ride like, like screaming. She was like just looking casual, like, yeah, this is fine. I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, why is she not?
Yeah. But it's actually I do a lot of things and I think about the fact like if you're just deciding if you're going to do something or not, in 10 years, if you're going to think back about that day, are you going to remember that you took that bus ride up the mountain, or are you going to remember that you did a crazy swing with a crazy girl and like what are you going to remember? Like, of course, in 10 years, you're still going to be talking about that swing, not about that bus that was bringing us up the mountain to like a smaller swing, which we
we don't talk about that small swing. We're 2 years on and we're still talking about that big swing. That's the impact it's had.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So then from Ecuador, where did you go? So we parted ways. I believe you went to Galapagos Islands. I went home. You continued traveling. So I think you were with MG and Jonathan. So this is, so Jonathan, by the way, who was mentioned at the start of the podcast, is someone who we also met. So we almost formed some kind of a group in Ecuador. We did a lot of things together. So like we went for dinners together. We went to the clubs together. So yeah, he's a part of that group. And he then continued on traveling with you. He met you in the Galapagos, is that right?
So actually I wasn't planning on going to the Galapagos because I was just like Galapagos is very expensive and I knew like I'm gonna go there someday, but I felt like I was not swimming in my money, you know, so I was just like, I'm not gonna spend that much money on going to the Galapagos. But then like MGC said, like, so I actually found this ticket, I think it was like 120 US, I think,
really cheap.
And then I was like, shit, now I need to go, you know. So I was just checking it, and then it was also just like 140, I think. Then you forget that you still have to pay like $100 tax when you get there and everything. So, but I was just like, okay, let's go. So actually, like 4 days before the plane was leaving, I decided, okay, fine, I'm just gonna go with you to the Galapagos. And then we had the 8 most amazing days on the Galapagos Islands, and like it was so worth the money. Like it was like 1,000 euros, I think I spent there.
Oh wow.
And I could do like 3 months of traveling with 1,000 euros, you know. But I spent it there in 1 week, but it was so worth it. And like halfway there, I think Jonathan came to the islands as well, but we already like planned our trip because we're just 8 days and so much to do. So we planned it there, like we're gonna go to that island, gonna do that tour, blah, blah, blah. And he actually had a little bit of a different planning. So we just saw him like sometimes for dinner, or like one trip I think we did together. And we just saw him like here and there.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember so from that moment, I went on to the Amazon jungle. I didn't have much Wi-Fi, but I remember when I got back and in our WhatsApp group, you guys had all posted pictures of you went diving and the sharks and the stingrays
Yeah.
and the turtles. And I was just there like, oh my God, I'm really jealous right now.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
was
We should definitely go
contemplating.
there someday.
Yeah, we're actually thinking of going. So I really want to go. Maybe sometime next year, obviously with everything that's happening this year. But it's on my list. I definitely want to go back. And seeing your guys' pictures and how you traveled, it makes me want to go there even more. So
Yeah, for sure.
so then, following on from Ecuador, you went on to. Was that your final stop, or where did you go after?
So yeah, I was supposed to go just to like Peru and Ecuador, and then fly back from Ecuador to Holland. But then, like, of course, all your plans change. Like, you should never plan big trips. Like, except for when you have like, yeah, for example, when you have 4 weeks or something, you have to like plan it because you want to do a lot. But like those big trips, I made a plan and I did not do anything. Like, just parts that I really wanted to do, but then you meet someone that's going there, and then you meet someone that's going there, and you always want to join. Like, of course, I have big FOMO, like you said. But then I went back to Peru because I met some people in Cusco. So like in total, last 2 years, I think I spent like 4 months in Cusco because there's so much to do there. Yeah. And I met like great locals, and I was just hanging out with them. And then I did another language course there, and I met so many people. So I was just feeling at home there. So I just really felt like I want to go back there. So I was supposed to go like for a month to Ecuador, I think, or 1.5. And then eventually I just was there for 3 weeks. And then I went back to Peru because Peru is just, that's the place you need to be. So,
yeah, I've only spent 3 weeks there, so I didn't get to see everything, but I saw the highlights. I loved it. It's one of my favorite countries there.
yeah.
But, it's interesting on the topic of planning, because I get asked a lot of questions about solo travel, and I get asked questions around, well, how do you plan your trips? So, okay, you're going away. So when I went away for 2.5 months in South America, how do you plan that? And I respond with, oh, well, I just booked a flight to Rio in Brazil, and I just booked a flight back from La Paz in Bolivia. And they're like, oh, okay, so what about the in-between? Like, what's the plan? And I'm thinking, I don't really have one. Like, the beauty of having so much time and traveling and meeting people is that your path always changes. Yeah. So it's almost like you can have a plan. There's nothing wrong with that if you enjoy planning, because trust me, I love planning. I normally have Excel spreadsheets with my holidays. Yes, agendas. You know, I'm very into my planning. But when it comes to things like longer trips, I agree with you. It's very much like, well, you know, I might be here for X amount of days, love it so much. I remember when I went to Rio, I loved it so much. I spent a whole week there. I made friends, and then I continued traveling on with them. And I spent another 2 weeks with them. And we went to different islands. And that was never, I didn't even know that those islands existed. But
no, exactly.
Word of mouth, it's just like, oh, someone says, you have to go to this place. It's incredible. So I was like, oh, okay, fine. And who wants to come with me?
That's the same thing with the room 17. Like, if you were like on a tight schedule, you weren't able to like extend your stay in room 17 because you have to go to your next place and stuff. So like even my second trip, when I was there for 6 months, I was planning on just being in Peru for the whole 6 months. Eventually I went up going to 5 countries. So like I went to Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina. I always say like in like the Spanish way, but like I went to Argentina, and then I went to Chile as well, and Bolivia, and then like I just spent so much more time doing so many different things than I was expecting to do. Like I was thinking just gonna go to Peru for like 6 months, live in Cusco for a really long time, like maybe even work there for a bit, and then I met someone, and we were just like, do you have any plans? No. Do you have any plans? No. Okay, let's go. And then we just stayed together for 3 months, and it was going so good. And we just, our travel styles were exactly the same, like sleep cheap, but do amazing things. And travel cheap, but end up somewhere great where you have to like pay 100 euros to just do anything. But that's like so worth it.
I agree. I think it's every moment out there is worth it. You know, you can, everyone has their own style of how they want to travel. There's nothing wrong with it. People want their individual rooms, if they want a dorm, if they want a hotel. I think the main aim is just to explore, go and have fun, go and see the city, go and talk to the people, and just have a good time and experience something different. So you mentioned your second trip. So when you got home back from your first trip, what was the original plan?
Well, the original plan was studying,
Yes.
starting from September. But I decided, hell no, when it was like, I had to like sign up for it like before the 1st of May. So that was around when I met you. And then I already signed up, filled in all the papers, and told my parents, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. And then it was the 1st of May. I think I was actually in the jungle then, so I didn't have internet. I couldn't contact my parents, and I was just like, no, I don't want to study it. Like, I'm feeling way too good now, you know, because I was like actually a little bit more negative when I was still in Holland, and like I became so much happier and like so positive, and I had such a great experience. I was just like, I want to keep doing this. Like, I'm so happy right now. So after just a couple of days, when I just canceled all my applications to go to university, and I was just, after a couple of days, told my parents, so I'm not gonna go to university. I'm just gonna like, I'll see what I'm gonna do. So that was actually the original plan. And then I came back to Holland, and then I went for like 3 months, I think. I went to France with my sister and her boyfriend. We went grape picking, actually. So we worked in a winery for a week. Nice. So that was also another experience. And then after a week, they were leaving. And then I did another, it was actually 2 months. So I did another 4 or 5 weeks on another winery. And then there were just a lot of new people again. So we had the best time. And then we went back. I went back to Holland, and then started planning my second trip.
So what made you then want to go on to your second trip? Is that just purely for the experiences that you had on your first trip?
Yeah, definitely. And like, also because I like met a lot of people, and I was actually also a guy that I went to, that I was going to go back to. And but after like on my second trip, I was supposed to go back to him for like a longer period of time. But I think we actually parted ways after like a month or 2 months. Okay. And then I went to this school, the language course again on another school, but also still in Cusco. That's also like where I went to my first language course in Peru, where I met MG. Yes. And then I went to another school, the second trip, where I met more great people. And then from there, actually, I met this guy with who I've been traveling like 3 months through all of South America. Oh, wow. Which was amazing.
Oh, wow. That sounds really good.
Because like the guy that I was coming back for to Peru, we like got into a fight and blah, blah, blah. It was big drama. And then because he went to Brazil at some point, and I was supposed to like go to him and like visit him where he was then. But then we got into this fight, but I already had my plane ticket to Paraguay. And from Paraguay, I was supposed to take a bus to Brazil. And then this guy that I just met like for a week on the language course, he was just like, well, I don't have a plan yet. So, I mean, I could just also buy a ticket to Paraguay and we'll see from there. And then we were in Paraguay, and we were just like, we were not supposed to go to Brazil, right? So then we were in Paraguay, and it was a couple of days before my birthday on the 6th of March. And then we found out around that time it's actually Carnival in Brazil. So we were like, we cannot skip this opportunity, you know? So then we went to Brazil in like a night bus, and then we had Carnival in Brazil, which is like the craziest experience. And then from there we went on to Argentina, to Chile, Bolivia, and and it goes from there.
So would you say you're addicted to travel?
Oh, good question. Like, I don't have the money to be addicted to it. Like,
we've established it doesn't need to be so expensive, you know, and travel could be, you know, it doesn't need to be 6 months. It can be a long weekend. It can be a week in Europe. It can be anything. It could be in your own country.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Like, I feel like if I were able to keep traveling all the time, I think I would, until like some point, because for now I'm just like, I don't have like a family or anything. Like, I'm not that bound to being at home right now, and that's actually pretty good, because right now I can still like go when I want to go, and there's not like, of course my parents will miss me, my sister will miss me, I will miss my dog, and like my friends and everything, but like during my travels I don't miss anyone. Like when I was away for 6 months, I wasn't feeling like I really want to go home, because I was just so happy while traveling. So yeah, if I could, I would be away all the time, but it's just like, also of course with the coronavirus, which I don't want to talk about because everybody's talking about it all the time. But like, that wouldn't have been possible. But I definitely like have so many plans to go to so many more countries, and like I'm actually planning on when I finish my university, like when I have my bachelor, in between my bachelor and my master, I want to go to somewhere. Probably I'm gonna go with my sister to Colombia because it's like one of the only countries I didn't go to yet in South
Oh,
America.
it's
So
incredible there. You'll have
yeah,
a
my
good
sister,
time.
she went for like 4 weeks to Peru, and she didn't go to Cusco that long. So I want to take her to Cusco, of course, and then we're probably gonna go to Bolivia. But we didn't plan anything yet. But like after I finished like my first 3 years of university, I definitely want to take another gap year and then go
Wow.
traveling again for
So,
sure.
if you had to summarize, what are your top three favorite things about travel? Just three.
Oh, the amazing nature,
Okay.
because like here in Holland, everything is like flat. I feel like it's not that special here in Holland, but like we have beautiful cities. But like for me, I'm more a nature type of girl. I'm more like animals. So nature, meeting so many people, and that like is also including like cultures and everything. So that's what I really, really like. And like it's sounds a bit stupid, like, but like you're finding yourself or something. Like I got
Yes.
so much more confident with myself, and I was so happy when I got there. And I like blossomed into this like social butterfly that just wanted to do everything. And I'm like so much more positive now, and I know that I can do things by myself. Like at first, like I said in like the beginning of this podcast, I was afraid to go with a train by myself, and now I'm just taking flights to the other side of the world and like doing anything, and it feels great to be able to do it and just feel like it's easy actually.
I completely get that feeling, and I'm with you. I'm exactly the same. So when I first went, I was a bit nervous. I didn't know what I was doing, and then from there, I almost got hooked onto it. But it
Yeah,
was a self-development tool for me as well. So learning about how much I can push myself, what kind of experience or how I handle certain experiences when
yeah,
things get tough. What do I do? Because you're all alone. So it's almost you have that independence, but also the freedom,
yeah,
combine the two, and you would just let loose into the world. And
yeah,
for me, the confidence thing was massive. Like I really, really increased my confidence a lot through going to my travels. So I was going to ask you how you've changed as a person. You've kind of answered that. So from where you were at the beginning of the 2 year stint to now. So it sounds
yeah,
like you've become a lot more confident, open, social,
yeah.
positive.
Definitely, because also like in high school, but it's always been a bit of a problem with me that I not that good at like connecting with people of my own age. So in high school, you're just in the class with only people that are your age,
Yeah.
and so that made it a lot harder to feel very connected and have like this group of friends. And then you see those people that are all together and being best friends, and I was just always like I wasn't like left out or anything, but I wasn't also completely in. So I was just
Mm.
like going through all the like friend groups, but then I wasn't really part of one, but I was a little bit part of all of them. So it was just a bit weird. And then when I went traveling, I found out like it's not me, like it's not that I'm the weird one, but it's just like the connection is not there. Like they're just a little bit different. So that's why I wasn't connecting with them. So when I went traveling, I found out like it's not me. It's just like our connection is not that good. It's not them either. It's just there
Yeah.
are other people that you can connect with way better.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something I learned then.
So, what advice would you give to girls, especially who are looking to go traveling by themselves, but are just a little bit scared to take that step into booking their flights or, getting their head around actually going? What advice would you give to them or tips?
Just go.
Just
Like
book your flights and go.
yeah, like everybody is scared, of course, especially when you haven't traveled that much, but just go and like maybe talk to someone that you know that did that, like that went there alone. Like there's not much you can say because anything I can tell you, you're gonna experience it completely in a different way. Like it's so different for everyone. So you just have to go, like talk to people that already done it. You have loads of Facebook groups, like I think there are Facebook group that's called like Girls in South America. You can just
Yeah.
send them a message like, "Hi, I'm now in Lima. Is there anyone that wants to meet up?" And then you have like girls. So then I think it's quite easy, and like don't be afraid. Like of course prepare a little bit, and especially when you go to South America, it would definitely help if you speak a bit of Spanish. So that would definitely help, like go to a language course, because there you will meet more people from like all around the world, not just the locals. So they're also like looking to make friends, do group activities. So you're like forced to go meet people. I think that's about it. But the main thing is just go. Don't be scared, because it's gonna be great.
Be a fearless female.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's interesting you said talk to someone, because I get a lot of questions myself from other girls who are looking to do something similar in terms of solo travel, but just maybe aren't as confident with taking that first step, or don't really know what to expect. So they just want someone to talk to. They may not even have a plan of where to go or where's safe to go. So on that note, for those who do have any questions, I'm a massive advocate of solo travel, especially for females. Just drop us a message, drop me a message. If you don't mind, I'll put your contact details there as well.
Definitely. Like
I love talking about it.
I never get sick of talking about my travels. Like never. Like I can go on for like hours about this.
By the way, you'll find that as well. So when you talk to the travelers, they do have many, many stories to tell, and they do go on for quite some time. But I love hearing them, and I love telling the stories as well myself. Yeah, so tell me, Mirte, what's next for you?
So for now, hopefully just finish my studies, because that's also quite a thing. Like maybe I should just quit and go traveling, but no, I want to finish my studies, go to Colombia. I want to like check off all the countries in South America, because like I feel like Suriname and French Guiana and Guyana, I can still go there when I'm older. Like that's how I feel. Like, but Colombia, I want to go there when I'm young. So that's high on my list. Like maybe during a summer holiday, go to Asia for a couple of weeks, something like that. I don't plan things. I don't even know what I'm gonna do this weekend. Like I have no idea. I'm just like day to day right now, like exams, so I need to study a bit, but I don't plan that much. I just go with the flow.
That's good. That's a good way of doing it. And if you ever do go travel, want to do a little trip in Europe or anything, give me a shout, because I'm always up for a nice weekend away or a week off or something.
Would love that.
Yeah,
same for you, of course. If you want to go there and feel like, let's do some crazy shit with this girl, I'm always down for it. Like FOMO.
I know you are. Okay, well, I wish you the best of luck with your studies, and keep me updated with your travels. And thank you so much for coming on this podcast. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Fearless Females Voice podcast. Be sure to join our Facebook group called Fearless Females, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.